Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Okay, strap in, because today we're really plunging into something fundamental if you're adventuring in the Forgotten Realms.
Absolutely. We're tackling the major factions. These are, the big movers and shakers in the setting.
Totally. And understanding them, whether you're just starting out in D&D or, like, you're a veteran player, it can seriously change your game.
Oh, for sure. It helps flesh out characters, campaigns, everything. We've been digging into the source material, specifically Appendix C, the 5 factions, from D&D Beyond.
Right, and we've boiled it down. Our mission today, give you the absolute essentials on these 5 groups. Who are they? What makes them tick?
How do they operate? And maybe most importantly, why knowing this makes your D&D experience, well, richer, more dynamic, just more fun, really.
Exactly. Think of it as your essential briefing.
Yeah.
All the key stuff, straight from the source.
No fluff, just the core insights you need.
Right. Pure, actionable knowledge about the forces shaping the realms. Okay, you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's unpack these 5 pillars of the setting.
Okay, so high level first. The source lays out 5 really prominent organizations, and they're distinct, definitely. Different methods, different goals.
And they probably clash sometimes.
Oh, yeah, they can be at odds. But, and this is crucial, the source points out that when, a major threat pops up, think demon invasions, that kind of thing.
For really big stuff.
Exactly. They actually can and do band together, put aside their differences for the greater good, sort of.
That's pretty interesting. That potential for unity, despite, well, everything. Okay, let's start with one that's known for staying out of the limelight.
Yeah.
First up, the Harpers.
Ah, the Harpers. Yeah, the source describes them as this widespread clandestine network, lots of spellcasters, lots of spies, people who prefer using their wits,
Right, knowledge over just swinging a sword. And what's their main goal? What drives them?
Fundamentally, they want to subtly influence things, nudge events so they favor the innocent, the weak, the poor. They see themselves as these, incorruptible defenders of good.
But working from the shadows.
Exactly. Helping the oppressed, but they'd rather no one knew they were even involved. It's about the result, not the credit.
So they're the good guys, but maybe not obviously so. They're not flying banners.
Pretty much. Their power comes from knowing things, from being in the right place at the right or maybe wrong time, strategically speaking, not big public displays.
Which raises a point, right? If they're so secret, how does anyone trust them or even know they are the good guys?
That's a great question. It implies, this incredibly tight-knit internal network. Trust within the Harpers has to be absolute. To outsiders, yeah, maybe they seem a bit ambiguous.
Makes sense. You can't be a symbol of hope if nobody knows who you are. So what tools do they use in this subtle fight?
Knowledge. The source is super clear on this. Gathering intelligence before acting is key. They've got these extensive networks. They know things.
Connected people.
Oh, yeah. Very connected. Veteran members know about secret caches, forgotten lore. They have trusted sources, basically everywhere that matters. And they actively look for powerful magic items, not usually to use them themselves, but to keep them out of evil hands.
So they're like protectors of dangerous artifacts, too. That could lead to some interesting adventures.
Definitely. And getting that knowledge, or those items, it's not easy. The source mentions they use disguises, different identities.
Going undercover.
Right, to get into guarded places. Think ancient libraries, buried ruins, wizards' towers, places with secrets.
And the bonds between Harpers.
Described as incredibly strong, like friendships bordering on unbreakable. If you're a Harper, someone's always got your back, even if you can't see them.
That self-reliance, but also that deep loyalty. Powerful combo. There's a quote here, Romelia Haventry. It really nails their philosophy.
Oh, yeah, Romela's quote is perfect. She says a Harper is first and foremost self-reliant. Why? Because relying on yourself means you're not tempted to use power as a crutch.
Makes sense. Less chance for corruption.
Exactly. They must be incorruptible, able to turn weakness into strength. And then that line, we are the hand that stops the tyrant, feeds the oppressed, and asks for nothing in return. We are the song for those who have no voice.
The song for those who have no voice.
Wow. That's potent. So for your game, listener, a Harper character, maybe they're the mysterious contact, the spy with the vital clue.
Or the lore expert who knows the location of that lost tomb. Great for players who love intrigue, investigation, pulling strings behind the scenes.
And for DMs, they're perfect cryptic allies, quest givers dealing with secrets, or maybe even unexpected obstacles if the party messes up their plans.
Okay, so from the shadows to, well, the front lines. Let's talk about the Order of the Gauntlet.
Right, the source calls them relatively new. Compared to the Harpers, anyway, what's their defining thing?
Their focus is crystal clear. Find evil, smite it. Directly. No hesitation.
Like straight up charge in.
Pretty much. They see a threat, they act on their own authority. They don't wait for things to get worse. They want to smash evil before it grows. So, way more proactive in the Harpers.
Oh, definitely. They actively seek out evil. Dungeons, dark forests, cult hideouts, wherever it lurks. But here's a really interesting layer the source brings up. Despite fighting evil out there, they're apparently very aware that evil can also be in here, inside everyone.
That's deeper than just charge the bad guys. How does that play out?
Well, their members, lots of paladins, monks, clerics, they spend a lot of time in prayer. But it's not just asking for help. It's described as keeping their inner eye vigilant.
Watching themselves.
Exactly. Examining their own thoughts, their motives. They believe in purifying themselves before they go out to purify the world. It's like this constant internal struggle.
So their strength comes from that inner discipline, that self-awareness. What about how they view others? Do they try to convert people?
Not really. They believe people have to choose goodness freely. They don't force it. Their focus is on righteous action and setting an example. They hope others see that and are inspired.
So, lead by doing.
Right. And faith is huge for them. Faith in their God, faith in their friends, faith in themselves. That's their shield and sword, metaphorically speaking.
Dependable, then. A clear force for good.
Dependable. A bright light, yes. But the source is careful. They're not preemptive bullies. They have a strict code. They only strike when evil deeds are actually happening.
Which means they need good intel too, just like the Harpers, but for different reasons.
Exactly. They use everything, divine guidance, informants, investigation, to know where and when darkness is about to act. They need to be sure before they bring the hammer down.
You mentioned that internal struggle. There's a quote, Kajiso Steelhand. It really hits that.
Kajiso's words are powerful here. He calls evil a master of disguise, especially cloaked as your own thoughts, whispering anger, greed, envy, making you think it's your voice.
Oof.
Yeah. He says real bravery isn't just fighting the monster out there, it's fighting the dragon within through prayer, through self-reflection. Only by winning that fight can you really know goodness and be ready for the external battle.
Fighting the dragon within. That's memorable. So for your game listener, playing an order member, you're probably a champion of justice, right? A paladin rooting out corruption. A cleric on a holy mission.
Definitely. They bring a strong moral compass. As a DM, they're awesome allies against obvious evil, or they could be a source of conflict if your party operates in shades of gray. They might not approve of the party's methods.
Add some nice tension. Okay, shifting gears again. From inner battles and holy crusades to the natural world itself. Let's talk about the Emerald Enclave.
Right, the Enclave, described as far-ranging, their focus, pretty clear. The natural world.
Protecting the wild.
Protecting it, yes, but also helping people survive in it, opposing anything that threatens that natural order.
Are they like one big organization with a central command?
Nope, not really. The source says their branches are scattered, often isolated, which means their members tend to be fiercely self-reliant, masters of survival.
So you find them out in the wilderness mostly.
That's their usual turf. You might hire an Enclave ranger to guide you through mountains, or find a druid helping a village prep for winter. Sometimes hermits who just show up to fight off monsters attacking a settlement.
Okay, so they do interact with civilization. They're not just, hiding in the woods talking to squirrels.
No, definitely not just talking to squirrels. Crucially, the source says they aren't opposed to cities or progress. What they want is balance.
Balance between civilization and the wild.
Exactly. They work to restore natural order if it's disrupted, root out unnatural things like undead in a forest or elementals going crazy. They try to keep civilization and the wilderness from destroying each other.
Harmony. Got it. There's a quote here from Delan Winterhound. Seems to capture that idea.
Delan's quote is great. He positions the Enclave as, yes, defenders of the wilderness, but also as gatekeepers. They connect the wild places to society, even the parts that don't get it.
Interesting perspective.
He says they embody this, like primal, ancient, natural order. They feel its pulse even in a city, and the word he uses to define them, freedom.
Freedom. Tied to nature's wildness. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, listener, for your game, Emerald Enclave character. Perfect for rangers, druids, anyone connected to the land.
Absolutely. Great for wilderness survival campaigns. They bring that expertise. As a DM, you can use them for environmental plots, as guides, guardians of sacred groves. Lots of possibilities.
Definitely. Okay, let's move from the wilds into the heart of civilization. Politics, trade, the Lord's Alliance.
Yeah, this one sounds pretty much like what it is. An alliance of lords, or rulers anyway.
Rulers of cities and towns.
Primarily, yeah. Especially in the north of Faerun. Big players like Waterdeep, A Silvery Moon, Neverwinter, they band together because, well, there's strength in numbers against outside threats. Protect their lands, their trade routes.
But what's the main driver for each individual ruler? Is it purely collective good?
Not entirely. The source is pretty clear.
Right.
While they unite for defense, each lord is ultimately working for the good of their own city or town first. It's an alliance based on mutual interests and shared threats, but local priorities matter. A lot.
Ah, okay. So built-in potential for, like, internal squabbles or competing agendas.
You got it. Which makes sense. What kind of people do they recruit as agents?
It's a mix. Based on loyalty, you get sophisticated bards for intel and diplomacy, zealous paladins keeping order, talented mages, tough warriors. They're trained in observation, stealth, using hints and innuendo, and combat, of course.
And they're probably well-funded, coming from these big cities.
Oh, yeah. Backed by wealth and privilege. The Force mentions they often have fine equipment, sometimes disguised to look ordinary so agents can blend in. They also use communication scrolls a lot. Got to keep those messages flying between cities.
Makes sense for coordinating across distances. And their overall goal.
Ensure the safety and prosperity of, basically, civilized Faerun. Stand united, eliminate threats proactively, and the source uses the phrase, by any means necessary.
Ooh, by any means necessary. That, plus the competing city interests, sounds like fertile ground for moral ambiguity.
Doesn't it? Does the source touch on that internal friction more?
It does. It mentions alliance agents can sometimes be glory hounds, trying to one-up agents from other cities. Leaders have to constantly juggle their city's pride with the diplomacy needed to keep the alliance together. It's not always smooth sailing. Rogue agents, even defections. Rare, but they happen.
Right. There's a quote from Ramil Joss that sounds very practical, maybe even a bit cynical about their work.
Ramil's quote cuts right through it. He contrasts people who just want safety with the people doing the dirty work, standing watch, tilling fields. He says the alliance deals with threats most people never even hear about.
Making problems disappear quietly.
Pretty much, his line is blunt. We make bad things go away. That's what we're good at.
Efficient, maybe, but hints at methods that might not be public knowledge. So, for you playing or running a game, Lord's Alliance characters connect you straight to city politics, power brokers.
Great for intrigue campaigns, urban adventures, dealing with threats to civilization. As a DM, they're powerful patrons offering resources but also demanding tasks. Or they could be rivals representing another city's interests. Adds that political layer.
Definitely. Okay, last but certainly not least, a group known for, let's say, pragmatism and ambition, often operating outside the lines, the Zhentarim.
Ah, yes. The Black Network. Their reputation precedes them.
So what's their deal? Who joins up?
The source mentions well-trained mercenaries, savvy rogues, crafty warlocks. Their motivation, simple, really, expand influence, expand power, for themselves and for the network.
Getting ahead, basically. Control.
Exactly. They kind of feel like playing by the normal rules just doesn't get things done. They want to make the rules. So yeah, they walk a fine line with the law. Shady deals, illicit stuff, even criminal acts. Totally on the table if it achieves their goals.
And the core belief driving that?
Straight up, wealth is power. The source says having gold inspires confidence, removes doubt. In their world, money talks. Loudly.
So expect their agents to be well-equipped, if they value wealth.
Absolutely. Finest gear money can buy. They operate like a business, offering services for coin. Need caravan guards, bodyguards for a noble, mercenaries for your city watch. The Zhentarim offer the best warriors money can buy.
Sounds very transactional. Does the network encourage individual ambition?
Very much so. The structure rewards innovators, people who take initiative and get results. Doesn't matter where you start. The source says you can rise high in the Zhentarim based on pure moxie and hard work.
A ruthless meritocracy, then.
Pretty much. There's a quote from Iana Asterion that really paints a picture of what the Zhentarim offers, warts and all.
What does she say?
Iana describes membership as like having a key to 1,000 doors, whatever your personal desire is. She admits many people shy away from that kind of freedom, preferring rules and restraints.
But the Zhentarim offer the opposite.
Right. She says the network gives you what you need, resources, connections to explore dangerous places, find powerful magic, defeat tough enemies. And her kicker is, well, it's blunt. She basically says, look, You might not like our methods, you might not like us, but when a really big threat shows up, like a demon lord, you'll be glad we're here because we're the ones who can actually do something about it.
You might not like their methods, but you'll be glad for their results. Wow, that captures their whole philosophy, doesn't it? Ends justify the means.
Totally. So, for your game, listener, a Zhentarim character could be that pragmatic merc, the spy working the angles, someone chasing power and willing to get their hands dirty.
Adds that moral complexity. Focus on wealth, influence. As a DM, the Zhentarim are everywhere. Great patrons for risky jobs, or maybe recurring antagonists who are hard to deal with because they're so widespread and, well, flexible on ethics.
So there we have it. 5 really different groups. You've got the Harpers, stealth and knowledge for good. Order of the Gauntlet, direct force against evil, driven by inner purity.
Emerald Enclave focused on natural balance.
What?
Lord's Alliance, political and military power for civilization, sometimes ruthless.
And the Zhentarim, all about wealth, influence, power, getting results no matter the cost.
And yet, that key idea, when the world's really on the line, they can come together, that dynamic is just fascinating.
It opens up so much. Knowing these groups, listener, gives you so many tools for players. Instant backstories, motivations. Imagine a Harper and a Zhent in the same party. The drama.
The tension.
Right.
But also maybe surprising moments of agreement.
Exactly. And for DMs, they're your built-in allies, rivals, quest givers. They make the world feel alive, complex, reacting to what the players do.
They provide that political and social landscape, the rules of the game, for big players in the Forgotten Realms. Gives your adventures that solid grounding. So yeah, we've done this deep dive into Appendix C, pulled out the core stuff on these 5 factions.
And knowing them isn't just flavor text. It genuinely helps build richer characters, tell more compelling stories, and connect deeper with the world of your D&D adventures.
It really does. So here's something to chew on as you think about your next character or your next campaign plot. Given all these different approaches, these different philosophies, which faction's way of trying to shape the world make it better, or maybe just more advantageous? Which one resonates most with you?
Good question. Might tell you something about yourself.
Might just. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope this helps you craft some amazing adventures ahead.